Boker Tov. Today's daf is daf Lamed Beis in Baba Kama, as we learned for Achenu Chol Beis Yisrael and Sunnah Batzara B'Shivya. We're holding at the second Mishnah on that page, 2/3 of the way down on the page. Two people walking towards one another. One is running, that would be called carelessly, and one is walking. He was walking, and of course they ran into each other by mistake. Or if they were both running. Now both running sounds like they're both careless. And they hurt one another, they damage one another. They're both putter because there's equal carelessness here on their part. Now the Mefarshim point out that we're not speaking about a case where they intentionally did damage to one another. If they intentionally did damage to one another, then they each have to pay for whatever damages they did. So that's if they intentionally did damage. But our Mishnah says that the two people were either running towards one another, or the first case is where one is running and one is walking. In both cases, since they didn't intend to do damage, they're both patur. Now, they're part of them doing damage to one another. We'll see. The Gemara is going to explain what are we speaking about here. It says the Gemara, our Mishnah does not come out like Isi ben Yudah. The time Isi ben Yudah, Amar Rutz Chayiv Neishu Mashuna. What are you talking about? If one guy is running and one guy's walking is normal in Shusarabim. Running is not considered normal. It's not what you do in Shusarabim. It's a dangerous place. There's a lot of people over there. You could hurt somebody. So he says if one person is running and the other person is walking, the one who did the running, he was the one who caused the accident when they ran into another, and he's chayiv to pay. But Isi himself, Isi says that if one is running and one is walking, the one who's running is the one who's doing what's unusual, and therefore he should pay. But on Erev Shabbos, Bein Hashmashos, when everybody has to get ready for Shabbos and they need their last minute preparations and they're running to either buy something or get home to light candles or whatever it was, there you have the reshus of the Torah to prepare for Shabbos, and therefore it's okay. So first we said the Mishnah doesn't come out like Isa ben Yehuda, because our Mishnah says that even if one's running and one's walking, they're both patur. Isa ben Yehuda says no. If one is walking, one is running, the one who's running is the one who's unusual, and he caused the problem. Rabbi Yochanan says the halacha is like Isi ben Yehuda. Says the Gemara, "Mi Rabbi Yochanan, did Rabbi Yochanan really say halacha is like Isi ben Yehuda?" Rabbi Yochanan said halacha is stam Mishnah. Like the author, the halacha is always like the authorless Mishnah, like the anonymous Mishnah, which is what our Mishnah is. Even if one was running and one was walking, or if certainly they both were running, they're patur. So the Gemara's answer is: so how could Rabbi Yochanan say halacha is like Isi ben Yehuda when he also says the halacha is like our Mishnah? The answer is the halacha is like both. Because it's not like the Gemara wanted to say at the beginning, the Mishnah doesn't go like Isi ben Yehuda. Masisin be'erev Shabbos bein hashmashos. Our Mishnah is speaking about erev Shabbos bein hashmashos, when one is allowed to run. So therefore, even if one is running and one is walking, the one who is running is not at fault because he's allowed to get ready for Shabbos, and therefore he's not at fault. They're both patur. How do we know that our Mishnah is speaking about erev Shabbos bein hashmashos? After all, the Mishnah doesn't say that. The Mishnah just says if one was walking, one was running, or if they were both running. Why do we know that the first case of one's walking on Erev Shabbos? The Mishnah says, "Oshayu shneim ratzim." Says if they were one was walking, or if they were both running to him. Hasulamli. Why do you have to tell me if they were both running the patur? If one is doing the unusual by running while the other one's walking, still you say that the one who ran and maybe caused the accident more than the other one is patur. So shneim ratzim. Certainly, if they're both running and they ran into each other by accident, certainly they would be patur. Why do you have to tell me that second case? This is what the Mishnah means to say. When one is running and one is walking and they ran into each other, they're both patur. When the one who's running has permission to run. During the weekdays, and that's what Isi ben Yehuda says. But if they're both running, they're both equally at fault. Afil b'chol also patur. So therefore, the Mishnah, you don't have to say our Mishnah is not like Isi ben Yehuda. Isi ben Yehuda says echad bratz v'echad mahalach is chayiv. Yes, during the weekdays. Our Mishnah is speaking about erev Shabbos. Amar Mar. So 2 lines from the bottom of the page on the mouth. Amar Mar. Mod Isi is motive the erev Shabbos bein hashmashos shu patur leishratz b'shus. Which b'erev Shabbos my b'shus ika on Erev Shabbos, what Rishus is there? Rav Chanina, bo v'neitze likras kala malkasa. Let's go and greet the kala malkasa of Shabbos, the bride, the bride who's the queen of Shabbos. V'amilo likras Shabbos kala malkasa. Some say that it's not likras kala malkasa, but it's Shabbos kala malkasa. That's what we say when we say boi chala, right? We say that in Kabbalah Shabbos. Go out to greet him. In other words, you're going to greet the Shabbos by preparing for Shabbos or welcoming in the Shabbos and everything that you do. So therefore, we say that if we come out that echad rotz ve'echad mahalach during the weekdays, the one who's running is the one who's unusual. Therefore, he caused the accident and he's responsible to pay. The other one's not. But on Erev Shabbos, everybody's mutter because he have to go out to greet Shabbos. Rav Yanai says more mesata if he would wrap himself up a coin stand. Boi kala, like we say on Kabbalah Shabbos. And the idea here is that boi v'neitze karam hamakabel panei melech. Unfortunately, talk about the fact that the earlier rabbis didn't just turn around during Kabbalah Shabbos to say boi kala, that they would actually go out in the field, like go out to greet, like the Shabbos is coming in, they would go out to make the demonstration that they're greeting the Shabbos. So that's halacha that there's that when it's Erev Shabbos, even if one is running, the other is not, they're both potter because it's considered usual to run on Erev Shabbos.
Where are these I don't know what you call them. I mean, it's not Torah, it's not Tanakh.
No, he's telling you what Rav Chanina said. Rav Chanina said, "Boy v'neitz likras kala malkasa." Since the queen is coming in, like
basically a svara.
That's a svara, yeah. Svara could be a deraisa too. That doesn't mean anything. Svara is also a svara could also be deraisa, but it's not necessarily deraisa. It just means to say it's the proper respect. It's proper respect for Shabbos.
Shabbos. If you ever drive, see these crazy, you're driving very, very fast.
Are they allowed to do that? Huh?
Not allowed to do it, but
yeah. So you'll get a ticket anyway. They'll give you a ticket. But it doesn't mean to say that you can be reckless, which is what driving fast is. It's reckless. You can cause an accident. But it means to say that a little bit, running in the street a little bit, you're running to reach Shabbos is not so bad. Says the Mishnah, a man is chopping wood in Rishus Harabim. Now, Rishus Harabim is not a place where you should be chopping wood. You should do it in your barn or in your woodshed or whatever you have. That's improper. But in what happened was some chips flew off from your chopping and flew and hurt somebody in Rishus Hayachid, or Rishus Hayachid, or you were doing it in your private property, but it was right next to, right? You were butting on the Rishus Harabim, and some of the chips flew and hurt somebody in Rishus Harabim. In all these cases, we'll see Chayiv. Or Rishus Hayachid, let's say you were in your Rishus Hayachid, but it did damage in somebody else's Rishus Hayachid, your neighbor. In all these cases, that is considered negligence on your part, and you're chayiv to pay. Why do we have to tell me all three cases? He explains. Do you know why, if you were chopping in your own yard, but the chips flew into Rishus Harabim, there's a lot of people there. Your field or your yard is adjoins the Rishus Harabim. You should know that if chips are going to fly there, it's a good chance they're going to hit somebody. So there you could say that there you're a poshea. You're negligent. Okay. From if you're in Rishus Harabim to Rishus Hayachid, there's not a lot of people in the Rishus Hayachid. So you might think, yes, if I'm in Rishus Harabim and I damage somebody in Rishus Harabim, there's a lot of people. But if I damage them in Rishus Hayachid, how was I to know that person was going to be there at that point? I might think, you're not chayiv, kamashma, you are. The reason why you're chayiv from Rishus Harabim, if you're standing in Rishus Harabim and you're chopping wood there, which you have no permission to do, you're chayiv if you hit some Rishus Hayachid, even though there's not so many people there in Rishus Hayachid, but you had no permission to chop wood in Rishus Harabim. I'm Rishus Hayachid, Rishus Harabim, but Rishus Hayachid, Rishus Harabim with the Rishus Harabim. I'm doing it in my own yard. I was chopping wood in my own yard. I might think if I damage some chips happen to fly somewhere else, that's an accident. I'm not responsible. Kamash one that in all these cases you're considered negligent, and even if it's not negligence per se, all right, you're chayiv because you did the damage. V'itan, it's not considered a total accident. Even an accident, you can say onus rachman apatra when it comes to the zikin, but not when it comes to most of the damage, as we'll see. you don't have to pay for boshas. We said, remember, of the 5 things you don't pay for boshas unless you did it intentionally. But he says, you're chayiv, presumably you're chayiv for nezik tzar ripui and sheves. These 2 things from Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah. The reason why I'm chayiv if I chopped Rosh Hashanah and I damaged Rosh Hashanah because I should have anticipated there were a lot of people walking there. And if I chop wood in Rosh Hashanah, I had no permission to chop wood there. So I'm chayiv even if I hit somebody Rosh Hashanah. If I'm in my property and I chopped wood and I hit somebody in a neighbor's property, where number one, there's not a lot of people in the neighbor's property, umikara, and I did it for sure. I'm allowed to chop wood in my own yard. I have permission to do that. I might think you're not chayiv, kamash and you're still chayiv because other muad la'olam, and the damage you done, you hurt somebody, even if it was what you call an accident, it's your chayiv for nezik tzar ripui and sheves. Tan rabbanim. You walked into a carpentry shop, shalobashus, without permission. You had no permission to come in there. The nitzah, in other words, it wasn't a place where they had kabbalat kahal, we'd say. It wasn't a place everybody was welcome in. You walked into a carpentry shop. You didn't have your goggles on and your, the equipment that they have. The nitzah bikas and a piece of wood flew. The tafchal panav and struck the guy in the face. Umeis potter. The owner, the nagar, the carpenter, does not have to pay. That's what it sounds like. Potter sounds like he doesn't have to pay. Rashi says potter here means potter migolos, even though he killed the guy, right? This is similar to the case of the axe flying that the Torah tells you have to go into golos. You went into a forest and you were chopping wood, and the metal part of the axe flew off the handle and killed somebody. You have to go into golos. Here he says you're potter from golos. Okay, why are you potter from golos? Because over here you went in shalom b'shus, right? You had no permission to go in there. Okay, but maybe the carpenter still saw him, so maybe he's somewhat responsible. So the Gemara says you're potter from golos. Im nichnas b'shus. Let's say the carpenter says, come on in, you're invited in. Then he's chayiv. My chayiv, what is he chayiv? I'm Rabbi Yosef Rav Chanina. Rabbi Yosef Chanina says clearly these words: chayiv dal varma potter migolos. You're chayiv for the 4 things, which is nezek, depreciation, what a person's worth less, tsar, his pain, ripui, doctor bills, sheves, time off from work. There's no boshes because he didn't do it on purpose. Boshes is only if you intentionally hurt somebody. Here he didn't do it intentionally, but it's also it wasn't intentional, but it was he's responsible. He should have been more careful. So Rabbi Yosef B'chanina, according to this, is going on the Sefer. He says, Im nichnas b'shus, if he went into the carpentry shop with permission, grant permission, and the carpenter, while chopping wood, hurt the guy. I mean, if he killed him, he's dead, right? So he's potter from golos if he killed him, but if he didn't kill him, he's chayiv and dal varm. That's what Rabbi Yosef B'chanina says, chayiv ad varm potter migolos. So when we say chayiv, it means, again, the ratio, it says potter from golos. Im nichnas b'shus, chayiv. So Rabbi Yosef Chanina says he's chayiv b'dal barim, but he's potter still from golos. It's not like the case of a forest. The case of the forest that the Torah speaks about, yar, zel rishus and nichnas zel rishus. In a forest, each one went into his own rishus. Everybody, the forest is public property. Everybody's allowed to go in there. But over here, in this case, zel rishus chaveru. Here, he went into his chaveru. So what? Then he's potter from golos. You're chayiv in golos when you're allowed to go into the forest. Everybody's allowed to go in. Now he went into somebody else's rishus, and therefore what? That's why he's no golos. Amarabba, kal v'chomer. I understand. Umayar zeldatas. Yeah, they both have rishus. In both cases, they all have rishus to go in. But look at the kal v'chomer. In the case of a forest, each one went in without the other one's knowledge. Right? The victim went in one side of the forest. The perpetrator went in on the other side of the forest. They each went in without letting the other one know. It's as if he went in, and yet we say that the perpetrator is chayav for killing the victim, even though it was inadvertent, because as if he went in, with the perpetrator's knowledge. I know you're there, and I have to kill you. He didn't really know, but if it's as if he knew, because we hold him responsible. The goal, and it goes into golas. So zeshel das chaver nichnas here, where he definitely went in with the permission of the carpenter. We said if he went in with permission, right? So das chaver nichnas. He knows, the other guy knows he's there. Lo koshkem. In other words, forget about permission. In both cases, they had permission. But over here, in the case of the yar, each one didn't know that the other one was there. He went in, he didn't know that the other guy was there. And still you say that the perpetrator has to go into Gullus. It's as if he knew that he was there. It's as if he knew, even though he didn't really know the other guy was there. And over here, where the carpenter knew that the guy came in, he gave him permission to come in, certainly should go into Gullus. Elam Rava, my potter me Gullus, he's potter goes to Sagi Lebe Gullus. Gullus is really it's a punishment, but it's also a leniency, right? It's a protection for him. He says it's not going to for Gullus, right? Because this is behind the time Rav Shapiro he says he's patum Gullus mishum dahavale shogeg korov lemezid. In other words, Rav Shapiro, when he says you have to pay the alvam, you're patum Gullus, it's not, we're not giving you a break that you're patum Gullus. This is what we call shogeg korov lemezid. It's an inadvertence which is very close to willful carelessness. That's what he translates. Willful carelessness. Shogeg korov lemezid. If you look back on Daf Aleph, we said over there that the last Rashi on the page, Daf Aleph said that you're only chayiv the arbet dvarim nezek and arbet dvarim the l'machayiv arbet dvarim ela o mezid o korov lemezid. This is what we call korov lemezid. So shogeg is where it was totally inadvertent. I didn't know I went into the forest. I was chopping wood. I know there's another guy there. I didn't even know. You have to go into Gullus. Over here, you knew the guy was there. He came in with your permission. Of course, you didn't intentionally kill him, but it's what we call shogeg korov lemezid. Therefore, you're not entitled to go into Gullus. You pay the dalet varim. That's what Chat and Rebbe Yosef Chanina. Patim Gullus korov lemezid. Now you're saying just because it's shogeg korov lemezid, you don't go into Gullus. Masav Rava, second of the wide lines in the Gemara. Hosel v'ritzuachas. Pardon? No. If he got wounded, he pays the dalet varim. If he killed him, he's potter from Gullus. That's what we said. If he wounded him, in the case where he allowed him to come in, the first case where he came in without the guy's knowledge, in other words, without permission. He didn't have permission, but he knew he was there. But he came without permission. He doesn't have to go into Gullus. Then, if he came with permission, he's chayiv. Chayiv what? So Rav Yosef says he's chayiv in the dalet varim. But it's so close to Mazid, it's a shogeg korov lemezid that he's not entitled to go into Gullus. So in both cases, he puts from Gullus if the guy's dead. If he's alive, he pays the dalet varim. And now, Masav Rava, let's say a person, you have person's chayiv in Malkus, and at the Bezdin, there's a Bezdin which gives him the Malkus, and you have the whipper. I don't know what the good word is for the whipper. The guy who's whipping him. Let's say he gave him one extra whip. In other words, remember, there's 39 lashes, but it has to be a number that's divisible by 3, meaning the doctors first assess whether he's capable of getting all 39. Let's say he's not capable of getting all 39. He's capable of only getting, let's say, 12 or whatever it is. That's what he gives him. Let's say he added one more by mistake, the whipper. What do you mean? You made a mistake in the count, you turned the electricity up too much. What do you mean? That's also shogeg. That's not inadvertent. You should have been more careful. You should have realized the guy can take 12 and you gave him 13. He might die with that. The doctor said 12, no more. And you gave him 13 or whatever the number was. You said 21 and you gave him 22. So, and he died. Should have figured out that he might die with that. So that's also Shabbatani Arezi Golos. So you see, go into Golos even where it's shogeg korov lemezid. So it's a kasha of Yosef Chanina who says when it's shogeg korov lemezid, you don't go into Golos. Amar Rav Shimi min Arda, the Toibim Minyana. He made a mistake in the number. He gave him an extra one. He didn't do it on purpose. He made a mistake in the number. So Tafakli Rava, Besangli Rava, he tapped Rav Shimi on his shoe, like, hello, come here. Amalei. Atahu money. He's not the one who counts. The whipper isn't the one. You're talking about the whipper. The whipper isn't the one who counts. But time we learn there's 3 dayanim there. The Garas Mayan and Korek. Of the 3 judges who were there, the elder reads the psukim. It says over there, you read the psukim. It says v'hifla Hashem es makostra. He reads the Bible while they give him the lashes. Vasheni Mona. The second guy gives the count. He's the counter. Vashlishi Omer, and the third guy tells the whipper, he calls, strike him. So that's what happened. Elam Rav Shiva Radah, the Ta Daina Gufe. What happened over here was that the judge himself made a mistake. In other words, the judge who was counting made the mistake, not the whipper. So the whipper was certainly not shogeg korov lemezid. It wasn't like he should have been more careful. The other guy, the guy who whipped him, That was totally a shogeg. He was just following the instructions. Therefore, it's not shogeg karv lemeza, and therefore he does go into golus. You threw a rock into Rosh Hashanah. That's not a safe thing to do. There's people walking there, right? And you killed some Areza Gola, you go into golus. No, this is also a case of inadvertence, which borders on willful negligence, willful carelessness. It's almost like Mazid. And the boy Sukidai should have realized, should have thought there was just Rav Shkichin, a lot of people over there. And you should have known that you could have killed somebody. That's Shogeg Mazid. The Victani Areza, and still you go into golus, even though that's really willful. Amr Shmuel Bar Yitzchak, no, Besosos Kos, not speaking about you're just throwing rocks into Rosh Hashanah. He was knocking down his wall. He was knocking down a wall that was needed to be repaired, needed to be replaced. And as he was knocking down, they were throwing the rocks in there. Say, still he should have looked, should have been more careful, should have looked where the rocks are going. Besos Balai, he was doing it at night. So Balai Lanami Boilayun, even if he couldn't see that well, didn't have lights, he should have been more careful. What happens if you're knocking down the wall at night? Should have been more careful. Besos Kosa Biyom Lashman. The answer is right. You're right. He was doing it during the day, but he was doing it knocking the rocks into a garbage dump. A garbage dump. He was doing it over there. So the Gemara, and therefore it's considered inadvertence. So the Hayash Bechidam. In other words, he wasn't just throwing rocks from Shishram. He was knocking down a wall and throwing it in the garbage dump. The Hayash Bechidam. What's the case with this garbage dump? If a lot of people use it, they use it as a latrine. Mezeru. If you know there's people there and you're throwing rocks, you're knocking on the rocks and throwing there where people use it, then you're certainly, it's considered willful. If there's not a lot of people, then also it's an accident. I didn't know everybody's going to go into the garbage dump there. So how do you say over here that it's inadvertence and he goes into golus? Amra Papa, people usually use it as a latrine at night. People don't use it during the latrine during the day. It's too obvious. They don't stand there in front of everybody. They use it only at night, right? And some people do, once in a while somebody does use it as latrine during the day. Amazing, and he's knocking it down the wall and throwing the rocks into that place. But people don't use it. They only use it at night for latrine, not during the day. But there is somebody who might. He's not certainly willful, because it's not usually used to relieve oneself during the day. Honestnami lavi, but it's not an accident either. Some people do come in, and therefore it's considered shogeg, and therefore he goes into golus. So again, we're maintaining the idea of Yosef Chanina that shogeg karv lemezid is not entitled to go into golus, and therefore when the carpenter said, "Yeah, come on in," and then a piece of wood chopped, while he was chopping wood or cutting the wood, a piece flew into the guy and killed him. He doesn't go into golus, and as he's not entitled to go, it's all entitled, like you say, to the relief of golus and the protection of golus. He's not entitled to that. Rav Papa Mishmei the Rava Masnila Aresha. He learned that Rabbi Yosef Chanina's rule. Rabbi Yosef Chanina says you're chayiv and dalad varm and your potter and golus is on the first case where he came in hanichlas lechanus or shalnaga. The first case we started with at the two dots. Shalobrishus. He came in without permission. The nitzalo bikas and a piece of wood. Flew into him, v'tafchalo upon him and struck him on his face or mace, and he died. Your potter, and on that, when it says you're chayiv b'dvarim, if he didn't die, you're chayiv b'dvarim potter migolos. There he said you're potter migolos, like Rashi said before. Potter migolos at the top of the page, the fourth line in Rashi also says you're potter migolos, but you're chayiv in the dvarim. That's what he meant to say. That he's not going on the chayiv, the second part where he came in with permission, but on the part where he came without permission. Even though he came without permission, but he saw him. And therefore, the some responsibility is considered poshea, and he has to pay the dalad varim. See, if it's a total accident, you could say that he's not chayiv. But if it's Rashi said in the first case, even where Rashi there said when in the Havmina where we spoke before that you came in there's no carelessness whatsoever. There's no negligence at all. If he came without permission, chayiv, he's still chayiv. In other words, you're chayiv nezek, which is the first of the dal dvarim, even if it was an accident. But he says you're not. But here it wasn't a total accident because he knew he came in. Yes, he came without permission, but he knew he came in. So before we just said potter from golus. What are you chayiv on? Well, we don't really know. The Gemara didn't really tell us what he's chayiv on. He just said potter. Here, according to Rav Papa, he's saying in the name of Rava that Rabbi Yosef Chanina was explaining the first case. when we said the mission just the Bryce just said you're potter, that says you're potter from Golus, but you're chayiv and arbet dvarim because there is some negligence there, even though the person came in without permission, but you knew he was there. Guy came into your house while you were sawing or doing some heavy work, came in without permission, but you knew he was there. Therefore, it's considered pshia, and you have to pay daled dvarim. Golus, you don't have to pay Golus because it wasn't willful. So man the masla seifa. Now the one who learned it on the seifa where he came in with permission, that he says where there you chayav daled Golus koshkan reisha. If you're potter from Golus, even in the seifa we came in with permission, with permission because there it's shogeg korov lemezid. Certainly in the reisha you're potter from Golus. If you're potter from Golus in the second case where he came with permission, he's certainly potter from Golus. In the first case where he came without permission, because in both cases he knew he was there. But if it's even, you could argue it both ways, because the fact that Golus is a protection, so you might say there you're maybe in the safer you're potter because it's not going to give you protection because he came with permission. The first case came without permission, but the idea basically is that there's less responsibility when he came without permission, and therefore your potter goes in the first case. So man muscle ratio, but if you say in the ratio where he came without permission, your potter goes a safer, but in the safer where he came with the rishus, since he came in with rishus, chayiv golos, he's chayiv golos. Why? Because that's already shogeg korov. That's already not shogeg korov lemezid, but he's chayiv golos because that's considered he's more responsible. Again, here we're looking at it the other way around. We said before, is saying shogeg korov lemezid is potter. That's when you learn what's going on the sefer. Now we're looking at it from a different angle. We're saying, well, if he came with permission, he's more responsible. It's more of a pshia, and therefore you go into Golus. Again, it's very, is it comparable to the case of the forest in the Torah? According to Rabbi Yosef Chanina, in the first way that was going in the Seifa, it's more, you're doing more, you're more responsible, therefore Golus doesn't give you the protection. According to this, we're saying now that Golus you're chayiv as a punishment because you knew you came in with your permission. In both cases he knew. He went into a smith's whatever you call that, a smith's factory or his smithy, whatever. He went into a place where there was a smith, and a spark flew out. He was, hitting with his hammer on the metal, and a spark flew off, a tough flew upon him, and struck him in the face and made potter. He's potter. Even if he came with rishus, you're potter. So what do you see? Even if you came in with permission, how can you say that you came in? According to what we're saying now, if you learned that Rabbi Yosef was saying you're potter from Golus, where only in the first case where you came in without permission, but in the safe where you came in with permission, then you're chayiv Golus. According to this, that's what Rav Papa was learning. If you learn it's going on the Reisha, then it's you're chayiv Golus. So why are you chayiv Golus? Here we have a case where you went into a smithy, and what happened there? The guy got killed, even if he came in with permission. It says even with permission you're potter from Golus, it's considered too much of an accident. So no. Over there it's speaking where the reason he's potter from Golus is because it was the apprentice of the smith himself. It says what do you mean? Are you supposed to? So what? If the smith killed him, what's the difference if he was an apprentice or not? Just because he's an apprentice, he's allowed to be killed, and the smith does not have to go into Golus. Speaking like this, the smith, he's training an apprentice, and he had enough for the day. He said, "Get out, go home." He's urging him to leave. He doesn't leave, and then he got hit by the spark, and he died. The master doesn't have to go into Golus. The smith doesn't go. It's just because he's urging him to go out. He didn't go out. He should have known he's there. So if he knew he was there, it's like he should go into Golus. He should have realized that there could be somebody there. Even in the case of the forest in the Torah, you should have been more careful, right? Why do you go into Golus? It wasn't a total accident. It's considered inadvertent, but you should have anticipated. There's some responsibility. You should have anticipated somebody could have been there. Well, here, didn't he know he was there? Savar Yotza. Over here, speaking where the smith thought that he left. Now, this is a very specific case. He's potter because he killed his apprentice by accident after urging him to leave, and he thought he left. So Yachi Achanami, what's an apprentice or not? If the smith told the guy in his place of work, get out, and what happened? And he didn't go out. So and then he got killed. So you say he's probably doesn't the man Smith doesn't have to go. So what's the difference if it's an apprentice to somebody else? Yachi Acher Nami says Acher Leslie Em Sidarabe. Somebody, the other guy, if it would be somebody else, like a customer, he's not afraid of him. So he told him to get out. He says, no, I'll wait, I want to talk to you. So there we say that would have been he would have go into Golos there because he should have realized that maybe he didn't leave. Oh, it's like said Rabbe. But over here in this case, where it's the apprentice, the Smith assumed that since the apprentice was working for him and he told him to leave, that he had left already. That's what we're talking about here, right? The answer is Ksavar Yatza. He thought, I skipped those words before in the last line. The Smith thought that the apprentice, after he told him get out, left. Thought he punched the clock and left out and left the place. Ksavar Yatza. Somebody else could also be the same thing. I told somebody to leave. I thought he left. Why is he responsible to go into Golos? It's mashma that only the apprentice, only for killing the apprentice, he wouldn't have to go into Golos, but for somebody else, he would. What's the difference? Said Rabbi. Somebody else is not afraid of the Smith. He's like a customer. So I'm not leaving. So you didn't leave. You should have realized that he's not going to leave. Hi, Islayim said Rabbi. But over here, if the Smith told the apprentice to leave, he thought he left because he didn't want to lose his job. And so he thought he left, and therefore he's part from Golos. But otherwise, we would say that if it wouldn't be for that, we would say you're chayav b'golos. If he came in with permission, you're chayav to golos. Rav Zidnish made a Rabba masle aha. So we had a machlokus in our Gemara here on Amid Beis. Was Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina, was he going on the first case where you came into the carpentry shop without permission, or the second case where he's coming with permission? Rav Zidnish made a Rabba learns Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina is on a different case entirely. The pasuk says that you were, when you go into golos, you were chopping with an axe, and the axe flew off the handle. Umatza, and found somebody who was also in the forest. So they found the prat lamamtzias atzmo. In other words, the person, the case in the Torah speaking about, there was another man standing in the forest. Your axe flew off and hit the guy in the head and killed him. Okay, it says matzah. It found that guy. Prat lamamtzias atzmo, as opposed to a person who went into the direction of the axe. Mikan Rav Lezer Yaakov. What do we mean here? A man, Reuben threw a rock and it was going in that direction. It wasn't going to hit anybody. Shimon stuck his head out of the window and it hit him in the head. Had Shimon not stuck his head out, he wouldn't have been killed. So he says, matzah mean if the rock or the garrison, the axe, whatever it was, or the bullet was going over there, it wouldn't have hurt him. But he stuck his head into it. And he got it in his head. You're putter, because the case of Golos is where the inadvertence is. I should realize there's somebody there. Now I threw it and it hit him. But he sort of walked into it himself. You're putter in that case. You're putter from Golos, as we said. That's more of an accident, but still chayiv arbet dvarim. You're still chayiv dvarim because it's still considered somewhat negligent. So the one who learns it on this case, certainly if you say over here, you're chayiv and arbet dvarim, even where the person stuck his head into the direction of the bullet, the axe, the stone, whatever it was, you're still chayiv and arbet dvarim. There it's considered somewhat negligent. So certainly in the first case where you walked into the store, into the carpentry shop or the smith or whatever, the guy knew you were there, whether you came with permission or without permission, you're certainly chayiv there. If you learn it on the first case, went in a store, so he's chayiv over there. But if you learn it on the first case, there he knew. But if you learn it is going on those cases where you walked into the carpentry shop, whether with permission or without permission, however you learn it, you went, but the carpenter knew the guy was there. So there you say you're chayiv and arbet dvarim. But in this case, where I threw a rock, or I shot a bullet, or I shot an arrow, or the axe flew off, and it wasn't going to hit him at all, and he stuck his head into the direction, and he basically took one in his head on his own. In a case like that, you're entirely putter. That's totally an accident, no responsibility whatsoever. All right, we'll pick him from Tanur Rabbanan tomorrow, Mitzvah. Have a good day, everybody. Call to
This person who's supposed to leave the shop, isn't he the posheya?
Which person? The person who walked into the
shop.
shop.
The person to leave the shop.
That's right.
Leave.
That's right.
So, and he stayed. Isn't he the posheya?
Right. So that's right. So Einachanami. So in that case, you're putter from Golos. That's what we said. You're putter from Golos because he's poshe himself. He's basically stayed there, and the carpenter had reason to believe that he was gone. So in that case, you don't go into Golos. But if it was a customer who says, it's closing time, please get out. And he stayed there. He says, no, you'll help me out. In a case like that, he should have anticipated that the guy was still there. And therefore, he would have to go into Golos. And again, when you say Poshea, it's to what extent? The case of Golos is where you're not 100% Poshea. It's inadvertence, right? You inadvertently killed him, but you're somewhat responsible. We're talking about degrees here of responsibility.
When you take your car into the shop, there's a big sign there that customers aren't supposed to come in the shop.
That's right.
Right. So if you come in and you get hurt, who's
your
supposed
fault?
to?
Yeah. So you are.
That's
That's right. That's right. That's very clear. If you have the sign there, you're right. If you have the sign, you have to be careful. You have no business in there. Yeah, right. Don't forget, what we're talking about in the case where you walked into the store, into the carpentry shop, either in one case, he came in with permission. There's no sign there that you can't come in. He came in with permission. Or in the case where he came without permission, but the other guy knew he was there, should have been more careful. To give your example, you're right. You're somewhat not responsible. But let's say you walked into the work area where it says, customers should stay in the lounge, or, but the guy knew you were there. And he says, let me show you something in your engine. I'll show you what's wrong with it. And then something flew off. You see what I mean?
Different.
Okay, well, that's what happened over here too. Here, the carpenter knew that he was there. Carpenter didn't stop all his machinery or whatever it was and say, okay, I'm stopping till you get out. Didn't do that. That's why there's shared responsibility.
Right now, when they have early leaflets, they throw to the Palestinians saying, at this hour, you better get out of here,
Yeah.
because we're going to bomb the area. Now,
Right.
when someone